Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. This is the last skill for the Necromancer. I actually really enjoyed going over the Necromancer skills because, well, there's just so much to learn. There always is so much to learn, whether you know it or not. I guarantee you one of you guys has watched one of my skill videos and been like, huh, I didn't know that. And you've been playing the game for like 22 years and you still didn't know that. Because there's stuff that I learn every single day going over these abilities. So, it's fun. Terror is actually one of the curses that is actually pretty useful. It has a couple very distinct uses. You don't see necromancers use it all the time, but it is definitely one of the Swiss Army knife abilities in the the arsenal of the necromancer that definitely has some nice uses. Like, for instance, an Uber Tristram. Terror is obviously an ability that makes monsters run away. But there's more to it than that, of course. Making monsters run away isn't the only thing that it does. It also, believe it or not, isolates specific monsters. So if you cast it on a bunch of monsters and you make them all run away, the only monsters that won't run away are the super uniques, the elites, the bosses, the champions. So as you can see, Eldritch the Rectifier, despite the fact that I've made most of these monsters run away, is continuing to attack me and follow me. So I can literally continually isolate him from his group. Now, unfortunately, Terror doesn't have a very large radius, and I'm not exactly sure why they decided not to give Terror a radius increase, especially when there's a lot of other abilities in the game that actually do have a pretty ridiculous radius. Howl, for instance, and both Grim Ward have ridiculous radiuses and will basically make everything within that radius flee. And it might have something to do with the order in which they're allowed to be applied. If you take a look at any website that lists this kind of stuff, like Amazon Basin, it will tell you that fleeing effects have a hierarchy, and Terror is actually number 2 on the hierarchy list underneath of Grimward. So Grimward can overwrite Terror, but Terror cannot overwrite Grimward. However, Terror can overwrite Hit Causes Monster to Flee and Howl. Now, Terror does have a duration of 33 seconds in Hell difficulty. So the duration is actually cut to 1/4 in Hell difficulty, and this is because all AI controlling effects or curses are reduced in duration for each individual difficulty setting. If I take this character down to normal difficulty, you'll see that the duration of Terror actually is much, much, much longer, and this allows you to have a duration of, what is it, 36 seconds? Did I choose Hell again? Why has it not gone up? Well, it should have gone up. It looks like we've got an issue with the duration not being displayed properly here. But it does have a reduced duration. It is one of the AI corpses. It says it right here. But unlike the skills description, does not reflect this reduction. So this means that in normal difficulty, it is 33 seconds. In Nightmare difficulty, it is half of this. So we are looking at, what, 15.1, 16.5. So we're looking at 16.5 seconds in Nightmare. And in Hell difficulty, we are looking at 1/4 of that, which I'm not even going to bother to do the quick math. I'm just going to pull up a calculator just for fun. So 33 divided by, minus 75% is 8.25 seconds. So 8.25 seconds in Hell difficulty. Now, of course, that's with 1 point and 25 plus to skills, which is actually pretty common on Necromancers. Necromancers tend to have a lot of plus to skill equipment, utilizing any number of things like Shaco, Enigma, like plus to skill wands, plus to skill, heads, Soges, Arachnids, Mesh for the belt, all sorts of different things that can give you plus to skills. Now, granted, you can always dump points into it. And if you dump points into it, it does go up to a total of 52 seconds. And this means that it will cause the monsters to run away for a little bit longer. Obviously, still cut to 1/4 in Hell difficulty, which is going to get you, what is that, like and the half would be 26, and then half of that would be, my quick math is always so bad. What is that, like 18 seconds? So about like 18 seconds if you max it out. Now, the reason why this is actually still useful on the Necromancer is just simply because you can utilize it to isolate super uniques, bosses, specifically in Uber Tristram. If you're trying to make the little minions run away, or like maybe you want to kill Shank, and you don't really want to kill his minions, all you got to do really is just curse all the monsters away. And once you curse all the monsters away, you literally have Shank kind of just like here by himself. And the monsters will continue to run away for the duration, but it's important to note that they will continue usually their last action before you cursed them. So, you know, for instance, let's say they were coming to smack you in the face as you cursed them with the terror spell. They're going to still run over and smack you into the face before they initiate the terror runaway response. And I know this is kind of silly, but this is the way the AI works. The AI likes to continue the last action that it had before it comes and, you know, like initiates whatever the AI-controlled spell is. So in this particular case, we've got Eldritch the Rectifier, and I just isolated him from his entire army, just like that. And that's really all you should think about terror for. You don't really want monsters to run away, usually. But in specific situations, maybe you want a super unique or a boss or something to be by himself. And this is really all you use terror for, is the isolation of a super unique. And it has its best effects when you're dealing with things that like summon infinite numbers of monsters. Like take, for instance, Uber Tristram, which has Uber Mephisto, Uber Bale, and Pandemonium Diablo. These three monsters will continually spawn more and more minions forever, right? There's no reason to kill all of them. So instead, what you do is you're just going to curse them, make them run away from you, and then continue to kill the bosses at your leisure. This means that in general, you don't have to worry about it. Now, one thing that you do need to worry about is that the minions of super uniques, I've noticed this in the past, is that they seem to be tethered to the boss. So usually, even if they run really, 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 really far away, a lot of the times if they're tethered to the boss, they will still somehow find a way back. But your regular monsters, the ones that are not considered, you know, minions, will usually never find a way back. Once they run away, they will continue to run away until they hit a wall somewhere, and then they will stay there. Once the effect of terror runs out, they're not going to come back. If they do come back, it's usually because you're within range of them. So, like, take, for instance, these guys right here. I'm going to go ahead and horror all these guys real quick, or terror them, or whatever you want to call it. And notice that these guys ran and they hit a wall over here. So when they finish their terror effect, I'm still going to be within melee range, and they're going to go, hey, we want to beat this guy up. He's still here. Let's kick his butt. And it's when that duration ends. So 52 seconds is a pretty long time, and they're just going to sit there running into the wall for 52 seconds. And as soon as they finish running into the wall, they're going to decide that they don't like me very much again, because I'm within range of them and they're going to attack me. But the other monsters, the ones that ran that way, the ones that ran really far away from me, that out of range, they're never going to come back unless I go over there and I poke them in the butt. It's not as easy for the regular monsters to actually like re-engage with you. These two will. But none of the other ones are going to come back unless they're within range of me. So that one right there was still within range. And this one right here, I saw him down there. I could actually see the curse above his head. He was stuck against a wall. So any monster that's stuck like that doesn't get very far, is going to come back. But the monsters that were not stuck, like this guy, he went far enough away that he didn't re-aggro. And it's definitely a useful tool in the arsenal of a Necromancer. You don't have to put more than 1 point into it. It's on the way to Decrepify, which means that, well, guess what? You get it for free. So if you go down to Decrepify at any point, you're going to have 1 point in Terror, and it's just going to be a tool in your Swiss Army knife, and that's really all there is to it. Is it worth putting 20 points into? No, probably not. Is it worth putting 1 point into? Yeah. I mean, you could definitely put 1 point into it on your way to Decrepify, and whenever you're in the Ubers or something like that and you're trying to help out your friends, you could utilize that to assist them. And the other good thing about this is that Terror does not work on super uniques. We were just talking about that, right? So let's say, for instance, I'm in the Uber zone and somebody is fighting Uber Mephisto, right? And somebody curses him with life tap, which is very important when you're doing the Ubers. Terror doesn't work on super uniques, which means there is absolutely no risk to spamming Terror on the boss to keep the monsters away from him, because you will not overwrite life tap with the Terror Curse. And this means that it's absolutely excellent to help in an Uber run. If you're with your friends, you're with your brother's, uncle's, mother's, cousin, whatever it may be, and they're in there, on their smiter, and they're applying their life tap curse, and they're trying to stay alive, you can actually help them and apply life tap yourself. And also, you can help them by applying the Terror Curse to everything around to make sure that they're not getting overwhelmed by monsters. And also apply it around yourself, too. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that because it doesn't overwrite life tap, you're perfectly safe to spam it to your heart's content. Now, there are plenty of curses that do override life tap, like Amplify Damage overrides life tap, which is definitely not good. You've got things like Weaken can override life tap. So you probably don't want to cast any of these. Decrepify can override life tap. And this would give you something to spam while you're in the Ubers that can definitely be helpful to anyone that's in there. Because, as you can see, I've immediately made the monster run away from me that was having any kind of effect on what was going on. And there's tons of monsters in there that are going to be annoying. You've got the mages, the ghosts, you've got the stupid little pit lords that are immune to everything. You've got the ghoul lords, which are constantly spamming their stupid little meteors and all other bull crap. And, you can just put them all on chill for however long you want to. Just put them on chill. And there's other curses that you could potentially use, like, for instance, Dim Vision also works fairly good for the same reasons. And Dim Vision will also stop the ghoul lords from casting all their spells. The only problem with Dim Vision is that Dim Vision will work very good against the ranged monsters, but it won't do anything versus the melees. So if you're in melee range with the, say, Uber Diablo, Uber Mephisto, or whatever, and you cast Dim Vision on the targets, the monsters will still keep attacking you because you're still within melee range. They don't care that they're blind because you're literally within touching distance. They can feel your nose, and they're going to punch it. All right? But if you use Terror on them, they have no choice but to flee. So Terror works really good for the melees. It works really good for any monster that's going to get in there and attack you, the ghosts, the pit lords. And the Hits Blind's target, or the Dim Vision, works better for the ranged monsters that are going to be standing along the edges, just generally being douches, like the mages, the ghoul lords, the archers, and so forth. And that's pretty much Terror in a nutshell. I don't think there's any much more to go over this skill. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when I am trying to terrorize you. And as always, keep watching.